Very good evening to our guest of honor, Chief Guest Dr. Nithyanandan Devaraj, and our Chairman, Honorable Chairman, the Trustee, and respected dignitaries. And after 3 weeks of time, we are coming to an end of our Leadership Excellence session. And we had eminent personalities with us for the last 3 weeks, starting with Mr. Lo Jun Jack, who was our resource person, commenced in the last week of November, spoke about being a manager and today's environment. What is the requirement? All those he spoke about, and it was a great commencement. And it was well inaugurated by the chief guest, Professor Dr. Vidula Venugopal from IIM Nagpur, the head of entrepreneurship development and the chairman of entrepreneurship cell. And also we have had a lot of corporate industry personalities had a good session with us, like Dr. Jyoti Ganeshan, the Deputy General Manager of ZF Wind Power, and Lada Sundaram, the founder of Aram Foundations, Dr. D. Visakamurthy, the founder and CEO of Insights India, and Mr. Bastian Robbins, we hear Clever India, Insights India, so who spoke so much about the data today. After we believe in God, we believe in data. That's what we learn from. And also we have had many other dignitaries, including Osai K. Kalidasan sir spoke about the business sustainability with the concern of environmental, and all other matters. So with all these, and today we are assembled here with another great session and an eminent personality with us to conclude, to validate this function and complete our journey of that leadership excellence. And he's going to speak about being a leader. With a warm welcome to our chief guest, and I would like to give a little note and introduction, brief introduction about Dr. Nithyanandan Devaraj, Nitin, who has completed his doctorate in management science and MBA in finance and marketing, gold medalist from the university topper, BE mechanical engineer with distinction, and he is also the IRCA certified lead auditor and assessor for ISO 9001, a qualified auditor for EMS, environmental management system, and occupational and health, SAS, and ENMS, and also L&T, future leaders training with IIM Calcutta. With his academic backgrounds, all this academic background, he has got more than 3 decades, almost 35 years over experience in engineering and manufacturing organizations, from hardcore manufacturing and marketing to general management to business head, working with PSG Group, LMW Group, LG Group, Suzlon Group, and L&T, Hitachi, CRI Group, and now he is with Amex Alloys as executive director, and also the chairman of Shri Avinashi Appar Trust, also the honorary secretary of CMA Coimbatore Management Association. With all these credentials and also having considered to be a professional with a rare blend for industry, academic orientation, having been governing and advisory council of many leading institutes, credited with designing a few management courses in the field of product management, industrial marketing, operations management, cost management, and corporate social responsibility. As National Secretary and member, the Foundry Development Council and Policy Advocacy Committee of Indian Foundry Association is credited as spokesperson for the industry. As part of various industrial associations and professional bodies, credited with playing a leading role in bridging inland marked changes in export incentives, classification of MSMEs, CBCB norms, waste and disposal management, played a pivotal role in training and development of educated youth seeking employment opportunities as well. Is a managing trustee of a family managed trust involved in activities like rendering food, shelter, education, and Medicare for underprivileged, noted for rendering services during Chennai, Kerala, Tanjore, Nilgiris during floods. Played a vital role in turning around a division and a company and established a large-scale projects in benchmarks in industry. Business has won several awards at national and regional level, which includes Indian Foundry of the Year, Young Foundryman, and Foundryman Awards, four-star award from CAI. Confederation of Industries, and Green Award and Safety Award from Tamil Nadu government. At national level from IIF. First Indian foundry in the segment to get OHSAS 18001 and ISO 50001 certification and many Kaizen awards for quality. So with that all summary note, and he has also got his professional association and memberships, as I have mentioned earlier, past national secretary and chairman, membership enhanced engagement committee, Indian Foundry Association, past chairman, Southern region, member and industry nominee, Coimbatore Disaster Management Council, a guest faculty to Premier Management Institutes, and was a visiting faculty to IIM Calicut, an examiner for management qualifications and assessor for management teachers, an acknowledged management trainer and consultant, is a regular business column writer, and is a great legendary eminent leader and who has managed a lot of businesses around our region, and also member in the Foundry Development Council, Ministry of Commerce and Industries India, National Council Policy Advocacy Committee, Institution of Engineers, All India and Coimbatore Management Association, IMA, and CMA. Board of Studies in premier institutions as well, and winner of the Outstanding Alumni and Distinguished Alumni Awards from PSG institutions and Bharatiyar University. The CMA Golden Jubilee Year Best Manager Award for the region, the Best Management Student Award for many accolades at national level, the Mother Teresa Award of Excellence for the young business managers, management interest and other interests as writing and columnist as well. And with all those small note of our chief guest today, and he's with us to complete the whole process of last 3 weeks as leadership excellence. And he was mentioning earlier, leadership itself is an excellence, and we don't need to have excellence beyond after leadership, that word. So he's going to talk about being a leader with all his credentials. And note, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Nithyanandan Devaraj, Dr. Nitin, Executive Director, Amex Alloys, the Chairman, Shri Avinashiyappa Trust, to this occasion. Once again, we welcome you, Doctor, and now we hand over this session to you. Thank you, Doctor, for joining. It's over to you now.
Whenever we talk about leadership, we are coming from a country, we belong to a country where there are no dearth of good, solid examples for global leaders, starting with Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda, who has taught to the world what leadership quality is all about. These apart, our epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana, has given scriptures and the kind of unlimited exposure to us, talking about what an organization should be, how a leader should be, and multiplying multifarious personalities in terms of role clarity for a husband, for a wife, for a brother, for a chariot leader, who not, for a strategist. Everybody has a role in this epic scripts. So there are no dearth of lessons that will help us understand what leadership is all about. As we begin our journey as management professionals, you have taken the first step in getting yourself enrolled in a management program in a good school. Obviously, your aspirations will be much higher than what you were as a graduate engineer. If your aspirations are to be met, first and foremost, you have to be committed to that aspirations, and the journey what you take will definitely be an entertaining journey as long as you enjoy learning management programs. Many times when I speak to people, especially the first year postgraduates who have joined the college, I only tell them MBA doesn't stand for Master of Business Administration. I strongly believe it stands for Management by Application. This is one course which is a common course to all the graduates, irrespective of the stream you come from. You are eligible to become a management graduate. Having said that, management education is also to be understood that it cannot be taught. It has to be learned. It is like taking a horse to the pond. You can only take the horse up to the pond, and to make it drink, unless the horse wants to drink, you cannot force it to drink. This is something similar. You have multi dimensions in learning management. More than making you a good professional, management education will shape you into a good human being. That's the first step in becoming a good leader. As long as you're a good human being, there is no doubt that you'll also become a good leader. Now, how do you define the good human being? Thirukkural, he has said in many forms and many ways what good human being should be. And it starts with learning. It starts with learning. Unless otherwise you are determined to learn, can somebody teach? While we talk about learning, unlearning is also very important. You might have picked up some skills in schools in your undergraduate program, which you may probably feel that it is not adding any value to your either as a person or as a professional. As long as you are able to identify these not value adding pickups, whatever you had, and you have to move out of it. It's like in playing cricket, you need to, more than what balls you play, the success will eventually depend on what balls you leave out. Gundappa Vishwanath was known for leaving out deliveries. He knows exactly where the off stump is. Similarly, Sanjay Manjrekar, not that they were great batsmen, they created many records, but then they were fearful batsmen during their best days. Today, if you look at Kohli, most of the times he gets out only by chasing the unwanted deliveries, despite being so popular and amongst the best in the world. So as a leader, today you're in a circumstances where you need to know exactly what to retain and what to leave out. It's like playing cricket. Obviously, it is a team game. Leadership is all about team building. But then, is it enough that you are a good team player? You need to be a performer as well. So where does leadership start? The current scenario, the kind of disruptions what we have gone through, all of us are now prepared for those unpredicted and unexpected disruptions now. In the 3-year planning, you are forced to include disruptions. What happens if some disruptions happen? In the last 2 years, we have gone through two disruptions. First disruption shook the automotive industry, wherein we jumped from BS4 to BS6 directly, skipping the BS5 norms. That created a lot of ruckus in the market because automotive industry controls almost 35% of the economy, wherever they are. And all changes normally start with automotive industry. So the consumer durables market, the automotive industry, 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers were what you call as even trucks and buses, passenger vehicles. That's where the change started. Next, it might happen in tractors, generating sets. So all this, wherever which is engine driven and there is a pollution that is happening, they will have to be meeting the regulatory norms as we integrate with the rest of the world. In the recent times, people have started talking about deglobalization. When we all grew, I think Dr. Sundar will agree with me, the other faculty who is there on the meeting today, they will agree with me. Our era, the Manmohan Singh era was one of the best eras our generation has gone through. Those days, we were talking about LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Thanks to the pandemic, today people are talking about deglobalization. So more world over, in many countries, rightist people are gaining significance. As much as here we have a Hindutva movement which is coming in. Rest of the world, we have nationalist feelings that is erupting. So quite naturally, the global trade is taking a backseat. Everyone wants to protect their economy. Given the scenario, which was not anticipated, today WTO itself, the existence has become a question mark. Having said that, the way China is moving, that the way China is trying to control of many countries in the world, as much as people are afraid, people are also allowing them to penetrate. There are only two things which we'll have to remember now. Look at the way East India Company came in and they occupied many countries. Trade is the way they started. and British colonized every other country to their advantage. Very recently, I heard a video, which is a fantastic, inspirational video, I would say. Why are the African countries poor despite having the best of the natural resources of the world? They have the best of the diamond mines. They have the best of the gold mines. It is because developed economies wanted them to be so that they can continue to exploit the natural wealth. So when we are trying to become a unipolar world in terms of culture, in terms of social upbringing, unfortunately, in terms of economics, we are becoming multipolar. Amidst all these challenges, India is trying to integrate it with the rest of the world and trying to become, or at least a viable alternate for China. This is possible only when young generation people like you are committed and believe in a country like us. And I need not overemphasize on the leadership requirement to reach those levels or to help the country reach those levels. Blessed are we to become postgraduates, and especially in management. I'm sure this 2 years of course will help you realize what is important in life and what is mostly not important in life. Having said that, this is also one course which teaches you to understand the importance of measurables. Status quo, unless otherwise you know where you stand, you will not know where to go, how to improve. So please measure. You will have to develop measurements and understand very, very clearly where you stand. First, you have to measure yourself in your family. First, you have to measure yourself whether you are achieving the potential what you have amidst your siblings, amidst your family members, amidst your close circles and relatives. Then you look at your peers, the classmates. Then you look at the fellow management graduates from other institutes. So you know exactly, you should know where you stand. And that measurement is very critical to define your growth path, understanding the status quo. This is what I mean, leadership starts with self. I strongly believe a person who is able to manage himself well will be able to manage the others well. It starts with setting priorities for oneself. How do we manage this to meet the expectations of many people? First and foremost, we have to meet our own expectations. Second, we have to meet the expectations of our immediate family members. They could be parents, they could be siblings, they could be relatives. They all have expectations from us, as much as we have expectations from them. Then the institution which you study also have expectations from you. Similarly, the organizations which you might join, if you go and do a project somewhere, they will have their own expectations. The society has expectations. They expect something, especially from the management graduates, especially who is doing postgraduate. For you to meet this, all these expectations, it should be possible only when you are highly self-disciplined. I repeat again, if you can manage yourself well, you can manage others. The best organization you'll ever come across in your life is your family. Any organization you work for is nothing but an extension of your family. So naturally, if you can manage your family well, when I say family, we all start managing our parents. In transactional analysis, there are 3 stages, which one of us will always go through. Parent stage, adult stage, and child stage. All these 3 stages are very important to understand in one's life. Many a times we remain as child, and we try to become parent directly without going through the adult stage. But the preferable stage is the adult stage. We all know beyond 65 or 70 years, our parents become our children. We have to manage them rather than they managing us. Similarly, children are children. So naturally, only if you assume the role of adult, the communication will be very even. Otherwise, it will be blocked communication. I'm okay, you're not okay. You're okay, I'm not okay. The best disposition is we are okay. You win, I win. We win. That is the best disposition. For that to happen, you should be accepted as a leader within your family first. Then naturally, wherever you are engaged, right now as a student in your institution, the acceptance amongst your peers is also very important. All these courses, all parents and teachers, they all tell you what you should learn. But it's by your own experience and exposure, you should learn what to leave out. You are a blessed generation where at the touch of a button, you can get every the information what you want. Thanks to the internet, thanks to the search engines. But it all depends on what is the information you look for. So more important, if you are to be productive and you need to understand the time where you want to spend, naturally, you need to know what you should do and more importantly, what you should not. There are always two sides to the same coin. One side is a positive side and the other side is a negative side. As long as we recognize the negative side, and as much as we orient towards the positive side, the acceptance level of the members whom we are connected with, that we are a good human being. That's the first. And second, we are a potential leader. It comes naturally. I repeat, first and foremost, self-discipline is very important to become a good leader. As long as you are a good leader to yourself, you can definitely be a leader to others as well. Second, you have to be leader accepted within your family first, amongst your siblings, amongst your parents, amongst your relatives. Leadership does not always mean people should do what you tell them to do. Very important skill. The first L stands for listening. A good leader has to be a good follower. Only when you're a good follower, you acquire the leadership skills and you become a good leader. L, the first L, in my opinion, stands for listen. You should develop good listening skills. Second, how do you attain leadership in an organization or institution? What you go for? As I said, it is purely depends on the prioritization. As a student, what are you expected to do? You have to be disciplined, you have to be punctual, you have to study well, you have to perform. That reflects in the academic marks what you get. Many a times, Dr. Sundar knows, whenever I talk to students, especially, they always ask me, is mark important in one's life, professional life? Having gone through some good organizations like LMW and L&T, Suzlon also, we have been told, and I also strongly believe, having spent 35 years in industry, marks is definitely, we strongly believe as a student, if you are committed to your studies, as a professional, you will be committed to the work. So your ability to lead depends on your ability to fulfill the expectations in the institution or organizations which you work for. As I said, a good leader has demonstrated ability to be punctual, to be disciplined, to understand what he should do, and to perform and deliver what is expected of him. So as a student, you are expected to have these qualities if you have to become a good leader. At this stage, next step for you will be the society. The character of a good leader is revealed when nobody is watching you. If you are in a controlled environment, your behavior will be completely different. But then, how you behave, how you conduct yourself in an uncontrolled environment is the core characteristic which you always carry. That is where the leadership quality comes out. Unnoticed, unmanaged, unwatched, that is where how you behave counts a lot to the society. People around you should look towards you as an example. Today, in the educated world, the world is becoming an inverted triangle. 30 years before, the number of graduates whom we had is 20% of the graduates whom we have. Postgraduates, less than 10% of what we have today. So the society is becoming more and more educated. Obviously, it is becoming an inverted triangle. So you're having more educated people coming into the workforce, and most of the traditional employment is giving way to formal employment. For example, today, the erstwhile barber shop where we go to, or the carpenters whom we were engaging for making carpentry, they all belong to a certain sect. But today, look at the beauticians, the beauty parlors where we go to. They are from different society altogether, different level of education altogether. They are technicians. They are no more just haircutters or barbers. Similarly, carpentry is today mostly IKEA, for example, is machine made. So the carpentry skill has given way to designing skills. The best paid employee in IKEA is the designer, furniture designer. It's not anymore making skill, which was erstwhile. Today you have machinery to make this furniture as long as you can design, manufacturable design. So the traditional employment is giving way to much glamorous and much skilled, educated level of requirement for these aspects. I just mentioned two professions which we come across in our daily life. You can give innumerable examples. So today, education is only a means of your earning. It's not the end. It will help you understand what is possible in this world and help you realize what you are capable of. So this capability will come from your own understanding about the society you live in. You should do a mapping, social mapping of the society and understand the gap which you need to fulfill. If you can identify the gap and then understand where you stand in fulfilling the gap, nothing else is required for you to be a successful leader. Leader does not always mean you should control number of people. No, doesn't mean. There are leaders. Every individual is a leader. The bandwidth which you control may vary depending upon the position you occupy. That does not matter. As long as you deliver what is expected of you in the most acceptable manner, you are a leader yourself. Irrespective of the bandwidth you have to control people. That is not the measure of what leadership is. Many a times we feel only the political leaders are leaders. Only the general managers leaders, only the presidents and CEOs are leaders. No, every individual in an organization, every individual is in an institution is a leader himself. I repeat, the bandwidth and the control does not matter at all in terms of defining leadership. Leadership is all about conducting oneself and delivering the results in the most acceptable manner. In a globalized scenario, it is always good to know what is happening around us. That will again make you a good leader as long as you have the right information. Again, I'm repeating here, it is the right information, not merely information. That is another skill which you need to acquire, which information to retain, which information to eliminate. I always tell, whenever I talk to budding professionals, the news is just views. It is not real news. It is somebody trying to sell what he thinks is right. So you need to make your own assessment about the news, what you get. It could be a business news or it could be a political news, does not matter. You simply have to remember, news is just the views of somebody who is writing the material. Over and above this, you have paid journalism, which we need not talk about. So the information highway, where you are bombarded with more data than what is required, you need to be very careful in understanding what not to believe in or what not to take in. So business, as much as you think you cannot be isolated with what happens in the world, the gap is narrowing down between the rest of the world and integration with many countries. So naturally, if you have to become a good leader, you need to understand at least the domain which you think you should belong to, what is happening in the domain world over. Again, internet will help you most of the time, or you have to talk to the people to get those information. So when you move as a professional in an organization, what are we looking at? As we all know, all of us should do a SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis, from which we understand where do we belong to, segmenting, targeting, and positioning ourselves. So you need to do a SWOT analysis. Having done the SWOT analysis, you know exactly how to segment and where you should target yourself and how you position yourself. So I encourage sincerely, please all of you do a SWOT analysis for yourself and we make a sincere attempt. I mean, management education is one, again, which will refine you more and make you understand what business is all about by managing yourself well. You can manage yourself well, definitely you can manage the business also very well. So next, the leadership in an organization comes out of the 4 P's: product leadership, price leadership, place leadership, and the distribution leadership, physical distribution leadership. 4 P's. I'm sure you'll be taught about it in the course of your education, 2 years. After this 4 P's, what becomes next is the process and people leadership. A good organization does not work with just machinery, money. An organization good as long as the people are good. So as I said in the beginning, the behavior of people from the organization in the society defines how good the organization is. The image building, what we call as. So you need to have brand ambassadors from within. Satisfied employees will make a good organization. So people are your own employees or your own brand ambassadors. So you should have both process leadership and people leadership, and it cannot be seen in isolation. Next is pace. Pace leadership, the speed with which you cannibalize your own products and services. Naturally, as a student, you have to cannibalize your own bad habits with good habits. That's what leadership is all about. As we move forward, the product life cycle is getting reduced every year thanks to technology developments, not from the same industry, but from across industries. The adoption rate is mind-boggling. As much as you adopt new technologies, naturally the old technologies will give away. So the product life cycle erstwhile, which is what 10, 12 years, has come down to 3 years now. And I don't see, or I will not be surprised if it comes down further below 2 years. So the value for money concept, what we are talking about, the person should get benefited within the 2 years of the product or service he is enjoying. So that is another leadership what we have to deliver based on the customer and consumer expectations. A good leader is one who satisfies as a professional his immediate customers. The customers can be anybody from your own vicinity. For example, as a student, your immediate customer is your teacher and a professor, which you need to satisfy with your good studies and marks. So when you get into a profession, your fellow worker will be your immediate customer, but you should recognize, that is important, internal customers. You can deliver well internal customers. The system efficiency, many people coming together will make the organization strong, and they will deliver well to the customer and market expectations. Very simple and straightforward. As long as you perform well and every individual in the organization performs well, the organization will naturally perform well. That well. But unfortunately, if something as a team it doesn't do well, nobody will want to take leadership. To quote Abdul Kalam, our great president, he once said, when a mission failed, Mr. Dhawan was then his boss, he took the entire blame himself, and the mission succeeded, he gave the credit to the entire team. accepting failures is first important step in one leadership journey. Unless you accept failures, Albert Einstein said, he failed 100 times to succeed one time. He did not see that as failures. He only said, I found out 100 ways which does not work. That is the kind of spirit what a leader should imbibe. Failure tolerance leadership today. Unless you are prepared to fail, you don't grow. If you want to grow, your success rate will be much higher than that of your failure rate. But unless you try out, you will not know whether you will succeed or fail. Always believe, if you try, there is a 50% chance for success. But if you don't take the step, you will fail 100%, sure. So that is very, very, very important. Failure is never failure. Failure is always a stepping stone for success. Please believe failure is never an end, success is never a final. You have to continuously improve and innovate yourself. Friends, now I treat leadership as an acronym. As I said in the beginning, to me, L stands for listen, E stands for engagement. Whenever we talk about leadership, it is essentially people leadership what we are talking about. So the moment we talk about people leadership, it's how we engage ourselves with others and how we engage others with us. Engagement is quite important. Obviously, we need to have analytical skills. LEA. A stands for analytical skills. We should always respond and we should not react. The response will come only when you analyze the situation where you're supposed to react. Your reaction should become a response and never reaction by itself. Reaction is instantaneous, whereas response is calculated. Define. D stands for define. You have listened, you have engaged, you have analyzed. Having done this, you should now define the situation what you are in. 50% of the problem is solved if you are able to define the problem well. Many a times the problem solutions fail because we have not understood the problem rightly. That's important. So the why analysis start by Japanese. That will help you to really narrow down the problem and define the problem, which you probably will be able to solve quickly. The next E, lead E, is nothing but empathize. A good leader always empathizes with fellow human beings, fellow employees, fellow classmates, fellow family members. He never takes one-up position. That is very important. You should remember, you should never take a one-up position when you are leader. Ego should always take a back seat. Of course, we are all egocentric. Our ego should reveal only when it is supposed to be revealed, not always. Okay. Next R, leader, rational. You should always make rational decisions. Decisions you make should be fact-based, should be data-based and information-based. And anytime your decision is questioned, whether right or wrong, you should be able to give a background and justification for the kind of decision you have made. If you can do that well, obviously you will recognize the wrong decision and you will correct yourself. Next, yes, is sincerity. As I said sometime before, leadership today is all about example. As long as you can demonstrate your sincerity, the people who are supposed to follow you will also become very sincere. Obviously, you need not tell what the result should be as long as the team is sincere. Of course, yes, honesty is still the best policy. There is no second thought about it. Obviously, when honesty is coupled with hard work, the results are phenomenal. Friends, don't underestimate the importance of hard work and honesty. They are the two H's will you take to the heights which you can't imagine. How much you can grow, it will not be a limiting factor as long as you are honest and you are hardworking. And involved person defines the subject. Next is P. Always the leader has to be people oriented. Process orientation is essential to deliver results consistently. But then the process orientation comes out of very good people orientation. what leadership was all about. L for listen, E for engage, A for analyze, D for define, E for empathize, R for rational, S for sincere, H for honesty and hardworking, I for involvement, and P for people orientation. Friends, before I end, let me quote our great Mahatma who said, leadership is all about being the change manager yourself, then the change what you want to see in others you can bring in easily. Thanks to Dr. Sundar and Aditya School of Management trustees for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with the budding professionals. I sincerely pray to Almighty to bless you all with wonderful future and a great beginning as management graduates. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Today with an eminent person in front of us, Dr. Nitin Devaraj, and he has completed this journey of almost like 21 days, 3 full weeks, right? Completing the leadership lesson. Any end, actually a commencement, new commencement. Now the students of Aditya School of Business Management is getting to a new beginning to take up their journey, management journey as first year MBA students to start their learning curve and learning management from officially today. And as our chief guest mentioned today, it's all about self-disciplining, accepting failures, and reacting is something which is not good. We have to respond to the situation, and the letter definition from L starts with L until H, the leadership, every letter, which we have to take note and live up to it. And without taking much time, we have started early, and I know the students are waiting. And we must thank our chief guest for being with us and sparing all his time and taking the journey back to Avinashi and sparing your time with us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for being with us. And for us,
Welcome.
Thank you again to our campus to facilitate. And before I end up, I would like to thank our chairman, honorable chairman, Mr. Sukumaran, sir, trustee, and faculty members, students, for giving us this wonderful opportunity. And I would like to thank the faculty members of our management department. As well as once again, I would like to thank our chief guest today for being with us. And we complete this occasion by thanking once again Dr. Nitin Devaraj, for this wonderful valedictory address. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good evening and have a good time. May God bless all of us. Thank you, sir. Thank you.